Should I do the third button today? I don't know. No, it's too tight. God, I'm looking older. So yesterday I did a show, and I had the audio was completely missing, and that was my boo-boo. I'm thinking that you can't hear the traffic outside, but I can hear. I'm gonna do this real quick. Just shut the window so I don't hear the traffic. It becomes a little bit hotter in here, but all right. So I'm beginning to think the best thing to do a lot of times is to walk away from situations. We have a situation going on, I guess, in Afghanistan. There are many people that believe that we should never have been there in the first place. Afghanistan was basically the result of 9/11, and then we also went into Iraq as well. And do we do any good by going into those places? The people who allied with us and I guess our allies are going to be suffering. We have Joey. Joey's finally here. I tried to call him earlier. Joey, are you on the road right now? Because you sound a little bit.
No, I have a fan going though, so maybe that's what you're hearing.
That's awesome. So, whoa, I hear my
It's not me.
Is it me?
I think so.
Well, it's coming from your end, but I could be. You know what? Hopefully, it doesn't appear on the thing. So I talked a little bit about right now. I guess Afghanistan is, I guess, now under the Taliban, or is going to be under the Taliban. And do we? You know, a lot of people believe that we really don't do any good going in there. These countries don't necessarily want our influence, and we end up doing more harm than good. And those who end up allying with us end up suffering. And that is the primary thought as of now. Joey, do you have any comment on what I just said?
I haven't heard it, so I stay away from those kind of news blurbs. As you know, I find the news these days has gone. It's a whole new level of propaganda and nonsense. So my guess is this: if I were to just kind of take a stab at it, crude oil, and I want to do a finance show later today and kind of go over all these things. But let's be clear when we say that crude oil is the lifeblood of the military-industrial complex. It is super valuable in that sense. And what we have going on in the last couple of days is heavy pressure on the crude oil market. And I've been saying this for months now. And if you follow the trends, you see it. Whenever there is pressure on the crude oil market and the price of barrels starts going down, you start to hear more stories ramping up, especially in the Middle East, but it could be anywhere. We've seen it in the Suez Canal where a boat from a company, I think it was Evergreen. If you look these things up, it's mind blowing. You look up the meanings of these company names. But anyways, that some ship in the Suez Canal gets fork knifed and halts the transport of oil and goods and stuff, and you see a surge in the price of gas, of oil. So something like this, based on rumor, is going to drive the price of oil up because there's going to be, more. They're just going to add to the drama. But from my perspective, that's all it is: propaganda and more of the nonsense just to keep the price of oil up. And when that happens, a lot of interesting things happen. It's a huge mechanism for the stock market. So, anyways, I'll cover that stuff when I do a finance show. But I hadn't heard that, but now that you told me, it makes perfect sense when you look at the price of oil in the last few trading days. It makes perfect sense.
All I know is that there seems to be a lot of suffering going on, and I mentioned
Who's suffering? Who's suffering?
people who allied with the United States, who allied with us against the Taliban, are going to suffer, and they, a lot of times may even be tortured. But I also want to add, yesterday I did a show to a degree, and I mentioned China Phillips. She did a show about her dad, and I just put a comment out there. It took me until my parents' death to realize that we're not raised by angels, but by human beings, and they have human flaws. And sometimes we have to be honest and look at our parents, and sometimes even people in charge. They're human beings. They have flaws. They make mistakes, and we should expect to look at people as full human beings. And we should strive to expect the same when we have disagreements. That people are, we're all full human beings with flaws and with weaknesses and everything else. And I'm feeling a really kind of.
And I would just say real quick, be careful, because when you look at the legal definition of human being and what you're calling us, when you go in, and I'm not making this up, go look at the Black's Law definition of human being. It's an entity such as a corporation that is recognized by law as having rights and duties, just like anyone else. So yeah, just so you know, if you're talking about man, that's one thing. If you're talking about human beings, make sure you know there is a legal meaning behind that, and it's probably very different from the way you're using it. Just so you know.
Well, as far as human being goes, I'm talking about man and womankind, and like I said, they come in as they are, and they're not perfect vessels, and neither neither am I, and yeah, so you get the chance to have have kids, or you get the chance to still be with your parents. I think it's important that the parents are patient with their children, but adults are often patient and sometimes a little bit forgiving of their parents, because, like I said, people are not rational all the time, and a lot of times people make decisions uh, not for rational reasons. We have carnal desires, and primal desires and primal instincts. And there's a lot of hypocrisy out there that I see with regards to looking at one group's primal instincts as opposed to everyone's primal instincts, and not saying the same thing. But I'll get into that later. Joe, I'm going to end this show. Is there anything you have to say before we end it?
No, I think good. I wish I got here a little earlier.
Well, it was not that long of a show to begin with, and for me, I am more the truth will set me free as opposed to ignorance is bliss. I know too much for ignorance. You can't unwind the clock for ignorance to be bliss anymore. Those days of I'm out of the Garden of Eden, and I'm in for the truth. And sometimes the truth, you can get stuck on believing certain things to be true, and you don't want to hear anything else. But I'm willing to hear different things, and certainly with regards to exercise and diet, I am type 2 diabetic. Tomorrow I will be getting a scale, and I'm challenging King Deepak and maybe even Darren, a weight loss challenge each month to lose weight and become healthy. Hopefully, I can reverse my type 2 diabetes. That would be my biggest accomplishment. And I would also like to hopefully, in some ways, for this country and the world to get better from this pandemic. It is crippling a lot of things, and it's there is no what is the reality and what is the best situation. I think we're going to go on to other streaming sites like Rumble and Odyssey, so we can talk freely and just find out what is the best solution to this problem. And so like and subscribe to our channel and leave a comment down below. Hey, it's David Fiker. Well, and David Fiker, David Fiker was a person that went through the.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah. Yeah, was a person that had that surgery. I don't know how well that's working now, but I am interested in losing weight and doing it naturally to the best of my ability. I don't know how well I can do it, but it's one of my thoughts. Anyway, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. All right, wishing you all the best, and also look at our website, transparencyandmerit.com. Thank you very much.